All right, guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of All About You. In today's segment, I'm going to talk about my seventh place Vegeta list and all the matchups that I faced in this year's Gencon. Now, mind you, Thursday's event, I played Baby and it didn't go so well, which I will touch upon that. I decided, you know what? Let me switch to Green Vegeta. I've only been playing it for about 5 days, so close to a week, but not quite. And it was my favorite deck. It was refreshing to use. Most importantly, not meta. I like to win with my own ideas. And if something is too popular, unless I'm going to drastically adjust, then I might as well play something different. I was able to meet a lot of you guys, people who have supported the channel for years, fans who have known me since Masters, especially the start of it. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So guys, as I said, we used Green Vegeta. When attacking, draw one card. This card can awaken if your life is at 4 or less. Then you draw one card. Flip this card over. Then we go into the man with the plan, Vegeta's backside. When you attack, draw one card. Now, what makes this leader very powerful is this effect. Place one of your energy into the owner's drop. If you have 4 or less energy, play up to one Saiyan only battle card with a cost of 3 or less from your hand. This means 3 or less. You can play 2 drops, 1 drops, but you can't play anything higher than 3. Moving on to our first important key card to the deck, Nappa. If your leader is Vegeta, look at 4 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Grade 8 Vegeta, or up to 1 card with a cost of 5 or less and Saiyan in its special traits and add it to your hand. Then place the rest to the bottom of the deck. Now, many people have discussed that searchers are good and bad for various reasons. One being that searchers do bottom deck your super combos and any other key pieces that don't follow on theme. However, searchers also allow your deck to become more consistent with whatever strategies you are using. So at this point, take it with a grain of salt. I believe it's most important to have consistency with your deck than just to avoid bottom decking super combos and other cards that are outside of your theme. We went with 4 Son Goku, a generic draw card. There is a searcher that's Gohan, and he looks at the top 3 cards of your deck and is restricted to 5 or less Saiyan. You could run that instead, but I found that Goku was pretty solid overall. It allowed me to not bottom deck my grade 8s. In testing, that would happen very often. Now, it could just be that I have horrible luck, but if you're like me and you don't want to bottom deck 8s at random, you run Nappa and then you can run the draw. However, like I said, the search Gohan isn't bad at all. Then, of course, we have to run our boy Murray. Now, he's very good. For one, he's a 10k piece with 10k combo power. And not only this, but on play, you take a life. Now, ladies and gents, understand, this is not optional. If you have 1 life, you can lose the game by playing him. And also, he has a little bonus of blocker. That comes up in certain matchups, but in most of the time, you're using him to take the life and combo power. And here's the deck. We run Raditz. If it wasn't for this card, I would not be playing this deck. If you don't run 4 copies, you're bad. His effect is on play. If your leader is Vegeta, play up to 1 Saiyan only non-Raditz battle card with a cost of 3 from your hand, and then you cannot play any Raditz card for the turn. All right, now keep in mind, this is restricted to 3, not higher, not lower. The leader can summon a Nappa, a Goku, cards that are 3 or less, but he can only summon exactly a 3 only Saiyan. He is the reason why this deck can become degenerate and takes a big part as to why this deck is even formidable in this format. Keep in mind, When he attacks, you can add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. So he's very useful in not only awakening early, but when you're getting closer and closer to close out the game, you can take and see more cards. So he's very essential. Like I said, if you're not running 4, just don't play the deck, man. The next card in my deck, I'm not a fan of, and that is Vegeta. This one is a 10k piece, which is solid. 20k, nothing special. His effect is when you don't get your key moon card on curb. If for whatever reason, by turn 2, you cannot play full moon, you can discard 1 card from your hand on play and look at the top 10 cards of your deck and place up to 1 artificial moon into your battle area. Okay? Again, he's not that great because overall you're not going to really waste the summon unless you need another attacker. He's going to be either combo power or your just in case card. But unfortunately, you do need it because some games just don't go your way. Now, we have our Son Goku. This card, in my opinion, is great. Some people don't like it in Green Vegeta. Others love it. I love it. For one, on play, switch 1 other card in your battle area to rest mode. Now, keep in mind, you can use your full moon as a card to put in rest or any one of your weenie cards that may still be on the board because you don't want to rest anything essential. You don't want to take away from your attackers. If your leader is Vegeta, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand and then add the top card of your deck to your energy in rest mode. Now, mind you, this is not optional. So guys and girls, make sure that when you do play this, you do want to ramp. In some cases, you may not want to do that. So you have to be very, very careful. Moving on to our next Son Goku card that I really don't see many people running. In this weekend's event, there was another Green Vegeta deck that did relatively well. Not as good as me, but he did pretty well. He made top 32 both days because he used the deck both days. Now this guy, he wasn't running. He was running Nappa the 30k beater, which isn't a bad choice, but I prefer this guy. And why, you ask? 1, on play, if you place the card from your energy into the owner's drop, during this turn, you draw a card. This deck can run out of steam. You need to make sure that majority of the cards you run can net you some type of value outside of attacking. And second part, it's a blocker. There are many times where you're bringing out your guys, you're going wide on your opponent, you don't want to awaken your opponent, so you can leave him standing as a blocker. Okay, when you're playing against leaders that struggle to awaken, like a Yellow Vegeta, a Haloku, decks that don't really have that much self-awaken in them, and in some cases, they don't even have any at all. You want to be able to control the game, awaken your opponent on your pace, and your pace alone. Here is the next reason why we run this deck. Vegeta. If you don't run 4 copies of this card, you're bad. On play, if your leader card is Vegeta, draw 1 card. Active main. 3 energy, place this card in the battle area into its owner's drop. If you have the field with full moon in its card name in your battle area, you play up to 1 Great Ape Vegeta with a cost of 6 from your hand. Okay, so you need moon in order to go into the Great Ape. But that's why you run cards like this for consistency, 4 copies to be exact, and you run the card itself, which I will show later in the video. This is one of the main reasons why I'm able to win games. These 2 cards are right next to each other. They simultaneously are key. If you don't see any of these cards in a game, you will most likely lose, because this is basically the heart of the deck, these 2 cards. Speaking of Great Ape, this man, okay, he's a 6-drop, but not in this deck. Double Strike. On play, place 1 card from your energy into its owner's drop area. If your leader has Saiyan in its special traits, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 5 or less and KO it. All right? This is how we remove pressure. We can get rid of cards that are nuisances, and we can put on a lot of pressure with double strike. Okay, many times when you swing with this bad boy, your opponent is going down to 2, or worse, 3 when you attack them from 5 to 3. And the last battle card outside of super combos is our boy Son Goku. Now, you guys already know he's a 7-drop. However, and of course he has double strike. Permanent. If your life is at 2 or less and you don't have a Son Goku with a cost 7, in your battle area, reduce the cost of this card in your hand by 4. All right, now understand this. You can't cheat him out. You can play him for 3 energy. That is your way of reducing his cost. But because he is Saiyan and Planet Namek, you can't do any degenerate plays like a Raditz into him if you had 2 or less life. You have to actually play him for 3, which shouldn't be a problem if you're playing the game right. He won me a game. I want to say he won me 2 games during that event. One wasn't necessary. It was like overkill. And the other one was very interesting because my opponent, I was playing against Boo. And in one turn, when I had 5 energy and a marker, I was able to bring him. My opponent blocked the double strike when he was at 2. And then I played him as a follow-up. And I baited my opponent with this attack, played the main card that I needed in order to win the game. The heart of the deck, Artificial Full Moon, okay? So, again, these cards over here, if you're not running 4, you already know the rest. This is your field card. The simple only effect it has is at the end of your turn, if you have 4 or less energy and you place a card from your energy into the owner's drop during this turn, add up to 1 card with a cost of 3 or more from your drop to your energy in rest mode. This allows you to pay energy, get rid of battle cards, while still maintaining the same energy you had originally. This allows you to manipulate whatever is necessary to maintain energy. And in fact, there comes a point where you don't have to charge anymore because this card is doing all the work for you, which means that you basically get 2 cards per turn, your leader swing, and your draw step. You don't need to go up to 6 or 7 or 8 energy. All you need is a solid 5 and a marker, or at the very most, 6 hard energy if you are going to use another card that I will be showing right about now. Instant Kamehameha. Another card that I don't see in the list. It's a Saiyan, so you can pick it up with Nappa. Nappa, again, could pick up majority of the cards in this deck. But this guy, place 1 of your energy in the drop, choose your leader or up to 1 of your battle cards, and it gets plus 15K power for the battle. This card makes it very difficult for your opponent to not only survive, but for your opponent to kill you. This is almost equivalent to having another super combo. Not as good on the defense, but just as good as on the offense. It requires a super combo every time you use one of these. So if you ever use 2 or more, that's 2 or more super combos your opponent has to use in order to adjust for this power. And last but not least, our 4 super combos. We kept it on theme, Cyberman, since it's old school, Vegeta. Before I walk you through each and every round I faced, I want to give a special shout out to Jose. You know, you're my boy. Essentially, about 5 days before the tournament, he came to my crib and we were test playing. He decided to whip out this deck, which is Green Vegeta. At the time, I was just playing Black Baby. My mind was, I'm going to try to do a repeat or just perform very well with the deck and keep it simple. However, when I saw this guy play Green Vegeta, even though I beat him in our test playing, he showed me something that was uncanny. It was incredible. I enjoyed the amount of fun that this deck can promote. It was something new to play, And not only this, but it was strong. So I had to test play it myself to see what it can really do in this format, right? We have Cell and Majin Buu. I've said this before, and you'll hear it again in this video. We're playing the Buu card game featuring Cell. And why I say that is, Cell at this moment in time is not as good as Buu because their cards are too strong. But the leader is snapped in fucking half. It's too crazy. Cell has the best leader in the game. Buu has the best cards in the game. But what makes Cell a tyrant is not only it has a phenomenal leader, okay, the best, but it also has so much recursion that's free. That's just because. I play my card and it has an effect just because. That is the problem with that deck. It's a degenerate engine that needs to be checked once Buu is no longer the best deck. And then my last shout out I want to give out is to my team, okay? The individuals that I went to the event with, all right? Eric and Neon Hill, you guys already know them. Jonathan Tavares, and my boy TK from home. He is the one that I test play with the most. And that is how I have a good understanding of what I want to take to events. Again, I'm not playing meta because it would be unfair, guys. I'm just letting you know the reason why I don't play it is because winning an event with Buu or Cell, it's just not my style. All right? Unless I can warp those decks into something different that hasn't really been seen, you won't see me use it. I'm going to be using other decks that can combat to show that if you have enough skill, enough information in the format, you can perform well and perhaps win, like I did a few weekends ago with Baby. A lot of people didn't think that was possible. They were like, oh, well, black is okay against yellow, but it loses against everything else. Well, like I said before, you may lose to red, you may lose to other decks. When you understand what your opponent is trying to do, you can do your best to mitigate that strategy. Now, I will say, red isn't a cakewalk. It is one of the more difficult matchups for black, which is why on Thursday's event, I did struggle. I played my first Cell deck during round 4, and you guys are going to see a deck profile / interview with the player who beat me while I was undefeated. And then in that event, I also lost to Buu, okay? So shit happens. We couldn't place as high as we would have wanted to. But with Vegeta, we almost took the win. I'm going to break it down. Round 1, I went against Cell. This Cell deck was interesting. It had the World Tournament card, the field card that gives you that extra 5K, which was very interesting. The player had an understanding of the matchup to a degree, but I believe I knew exactly what he needed to do before he actually did it. And that gave me a huge advantage. Again, when you're playing meta, everyone's going to know what your cards do because they're seeing it repetitively. When you're playing something that's not quite meta but could potentially win against the best decks, people are not going to know exactly what you're trying to do, which makes your game plan easier to execute. Same with a few weekends ago. Yeah, players knew about Baby, but it was no longer in the format like that. If you looked at other lists in other countries, Baby was like B tier, C tier. I saw Baby damn near non-existent, while you have all these other best decks in S tier, and then you have your generic good decks in A tier, and then B tier, like I said, you might have seen Baby or you might not. The truth of the matter is Baby the best deck? No. Is it one of the best decks? No. But if you know how to play the deck well, you can take advantage of those matchups. Now, moving on to my second round. I believe I went against a Buu player. And the Buu player was okay. Not bad. Honestly, okay. They were doing the same strategies, but unfortunately, I was able to swarm them, awaken quickly, and put them in a really bad game state where they just simply couldn't win. Then after that, I faced Giblet. I had to take down a green player, and you know who you are. We had a little conversation before our game started, and he made a funny comment about me just giving him the win so there won't be any violence. I'm not too sure if he knew who I was. Maybe he did. I know a lot of you guys know who I am, for good or for bad, right? But at the end of the day, we had a good game, and I overwhelmed him. He was able to remove cards, but so did I. And I was able to put on so much pressure that essentially he ended up scooping. I went out for game for a very high combo power, and he just simply didn't have it. He burned too many resources defending so many attacks that I was dishing out that it became futile. You either go to 1 and then you lose, or you guard and you stay at 2 and you get double strike. Either way, that's not a game you're going to be winning. Now, for my fourth opponent, we had Mr. Vegeta. Okay, now this guy, he was playing yellow Vegeta, and we had an okay match. Wasn't as friendly, I can tell. There was a point where he felt some type of way in terms of how the game went. Long story. On his kill turn, he went out for game. He had 2 attackers, his lead, and I believe a Janemba still left on the board. And then on his turn, he summoned 5-drop Boo. Ended up playing a cantrip. I don't think he played anything with the 5-drop Boo, and went out for game. That's essentially what he did. Now, keep in mind, this guy didn't have as much combo power, okay? His deck ran quite a few dead cards, right, to manipulate, to get rid of the board. He did that against me. He was getting rid of my board. He hit me, I think, with a final explosion, and he had other extra cards, just cards that allowed him to stay safe, right? That's the reason why you would run yellow Vegeta. But all in all, when he went out for game, he went up to 95k. Now, prior to him attacking for game, my boy swung out with a 25k attacker. I had to use an instant Kamehameha to dodge that attack. Then he went out for another attacker with his leader. I had to use an instant. I was at 1 life. Then he played 5-drop Boo, played a cantrip, flooded out his hand, right? Most of the cards in his hand did go into the combo step, but he did have a few dead cards. Now, he went up to 95k. I was shuffling through my hand. My boy Eric saw what I was doing. Slowly, I revealed 1 super combo, 2 super combo, 3 super combo, and my 4th. When I did that, the guy felt some type of way. It's part of the game, right? Your opponent could have all 4 copies. It happens often with Boo. I know anyone who plays against Boo, they know that these guys always see their super combos, right? 3 or more, usually the whole playset. But for whatever reason, he felt some type of way, and that left a little sour, I guess. It was what it was, right? And it would have been nice that he would have just been a little bit more logical in that sense, right? Because it's like, you're playing a game with chance. There was a point where in that game I wasn't as aggressive as I could have been. And that should tell you, right? If you play tested against Greave and Vegeta, you would know, well, damn, if my opponent is not doing certain plays, what the hell does he have in his hand? You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's common sense if you understand the matchup. But maybe that's just what it was. He didn't really know what I was trying to do with my deck. And que sera, sera. Now, moving on to my 5th round. Okay. I ended up playing against the previous champion of Thursday's event. He won with Boo, and we had a really good game. It was very competitive, back and forth. It came down to a sequence of me having 3 battle cards. He locks 1. He has the 3 drop, went into the 4 drop in his turn. He has everything set up, puts me at 2 life, attacks my battle cards, setting me up for game with the Devil Striker, right? Solid play line. Can't argue that. So what happens is I already understand this information. So I'm like, you know what? Probably the best time to try to go for game. Now, I sequence in a way where I attack with lead, he guards. I attack with one of the battle cards that I had, a 25k, he guards 10. I attack, I believe, with a 20k battle card, and he takes life. So he goes down to 2 life. Now, I have Raditz, and I have a Vegeta in my hand. I play a 1-drop, then I use my skill, play the Raditz, into the Vegeta, draw a card. I'm cycling through cards. Fortunately, I did get a dead card somewhere along the line. It is what it is, right? I was seeing a couple of dead cards, but it was okay, right? We were going to make the most of it. We are still able to combo relatively high. I attack with Raditz to his lead. He takes it. He goes to 1 because he anticipates me going into the 8. I have 3 energy. He's like, oh, he's going to go into the 8. Might as well see the card. Then I attack him with Vegeta, and I combo the 5. He loses a 10 and a 5k piece. Now he's at 1. I have 3 energy open. I slap this card down, and I proceed to combo out my entire hand. I went up to 140k. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that's relatively high. Now, my opponent at this point in the game has 11 cards in hand, okay? In fact, some of those cards were dead. But we're going to show you exactly what he does. He plays 4 super combos on me, okay? Similar to the yellow Vegeta player, right? Felt some type of way when I played 4. Well, guess what? My opponent did the same. Boo typically likes to do that. That's 100k. Then he drops 1 more card. His 5th card out of his hand is a 10k. His 6th card out of his hand is a 10k. His 7th card out of his hand is a 10k. His 8th card in his hand is a 10k. Now we're looking at 8 cards being played. Then last but not least, he drops a 5k from his hand. Okay? 9 cards were played. The 2 remaining cards in his hand were 5-drop Boo, 4-drop Boo. Ain't that some shit? According to him, when he took life, when he went from 3 to 1, he drew 2 dead cards. His whole hand, according to him, was combo power, but in the end, he took 2 dead cards. Now, if that's accurate, it is what it is. But if he did pick up a super combo or any other cards, it's unfortunate. That's all I can say. Very unfortunate. And that's how I lost. Okay? Could have won, but I lost by 5. Moving on to my last opponent, I played against another Boo player. We had a very interesting game. It came down to me going second. He went first just to get the Boo Han and the cute stuff. He ended up playing Bobbity into the 3-drop, so he cooked. So did the previous player who beat me by 5. He played Bobbity into Boo Han, which is strong, because if at any point he did not do that, I would have won my game. Just saying, okay? So a lot of things went his way in order to survive. This guy, though, unfortunately, even though he started off strong, things just didn't go his way. When it hits my turn 5, which was really my turn 4, because of how my deck works, I can ramp, all right? If you know, you know. I already have a 3-drop Vegeta on board, the one that can essentially pay 3 and bring out the apes, right? So what happens is I attack, I go wide, he's at 3 life, has maybe about 8 cards in hand, roughly. I attack with my battle cards, I knock him down to like maybe 5 cards in hand. Have my battle card, 2 battle cards because he locked one of my guys, so 2 battle cards in lead, so he has 5 cards in hand. So then I pay 3 energy from Vegeta and I play the ape. So now I have a remainder 2 energy and 1 energy marker. My opponent had a blocker, barrier up. I swing out with this guy, he blocks. After he blocks, he feels safe. He's like, okay, I'm good. And you could tell he felt like he was relieved. Not gonna lose this turn. So he thought. I used my effect, my Vegeta skill, leader, and I bring out Raditz, and I bring out this man. Use his skill, tap my full moon, take a life, get an energy from the top of my deck to my energy area. I swing out Raditz to one of his battle cards. He lets it die. I then proceed to play this card. And now I have another double strike for the turn. So I was able to play 2 double strikes in one turn. I attack, combo this guy off. And I didn't combo that high. Believe it or not, I only comboed out to like 75, 80K. Okay? But he only has 5 cards in hand. He has a super combo and then some 10s. Overall, I believe he hit 65K. So still relatively close, right? We weren't too far off. He was maybe about 15K off of combo from me. But that's the end. Overall, my breakers weren't as good. I went X1. The Boo player that I lost to ended up losing in the last round to the champ. And I guess that's essentially why my breakers, part of the reason why my breakers were lower than what I expected. If he would have won, I would have had a high chance of coming in second, but he didn't. And that's it. That's a wrap, guys. This was my Gencon experience. The game is not in the best place right now, but there are ways to combat the format. You just have to get good. As always, this channel is all about you. Catch you guys on the next video.